There's a poison that's all around us. It's a byproduct of the very things that power our modern lives. People call it the silent killer. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it pulls off the perfect crime right inside your own body.
For starters, it's totally invisible. You literally can't see it coming.
And on top of that, it's odorless and tasteless. Your own senses, the very things that are supposed to protect you, are completely defenseless. Yeah, we're talking about carbon monoxide. You'll see it written as CO. It comes from stuff like cars, faulty heaters, even charcoal grills, anytime fuel doesn't burn completely. But its real danger? It's how it hijacks the single most important delivery service in your entire body, your blood. Okay, but before we get into the nitty-gritty of how this poison works, we've got to understand the system it's attacking. See, every single cell in your body needs a constant supply of oxygen to stay alive. And that oxygen is delivered by this absolutely incredible protein. So let's meet our hero, hemoglobin. The easiest way to think about it is like a massive fleet of billions of tiny delivery trucks. Each one of your red blood cells is just packed with them, like 250 million of these little trucks. Their only job? Pick up oxygen in your lungs and drop it off wherever it's needed. It's a beautifully simple system, and yeah, it's what's keeping you alive right now. But what happens when an imposter sneaks into this perfect system? This is where carbon monoxide re-enters the picture. And let me tell you, it has a devastatingly effective game plan. So scientifically, carbon monoxide is what's called a competitive inhibitor. Basically, it's shaped just enough like an oxygen molecule that it can sneak in and steal oxygen's seat on that hemoglobin delivery truck. But it doesn't just steal the spot. Oh no, it has a secret weapon. And this is where the scale of the problem just becomes mind-boggling. Your hemoglobin, it loves carbon monoxide. It has the stickiness for it, an affinity that's about 240 times stronger than it is for oxygen. Let that sink in. That means if you've got just one molecule of CO floating around for every 240 molecules of oxygen, the CO is going to win that fight for a seat on the hemoglobin truck half the time. It's not a fair fight at all. I love this analogy someone on Reddit came up with. It's perfect. The CO molecules aren't just taking up seats on the subway. They're like mannequins that get on and literally glue themselves to the seats. Pretty soon, the whole train is full of mannequins, and no real passengers, no oxygen, can get on. Your red blood cells just become useless junk, circulating around with nowhere to go. Okay, so you might be thinking, got it, CO steals oxygen's spot and you suffocate, and you'd be right, but that's only half the story. The reality is actually way more sinister. This is the real kicker. When a CO molecule grabs onto just one of the 4 spots on that hemoglobin truck, it does something truly devastating. It actually changes the shape of the entire protein, which makes it hold on even tighter to any oxygen that's still on board. Scientists call this the leftward shift. But think of it this way. The delivery truck arrives at your starving tissues, but the doors are locked from the inside. The oxygen is right there, but it can't get off. Your brain, your heart, all your vital organs, they start to suffocate, even while the oxygen they desperately need just floats right by, trapped. It's a brutal double cross. So you've got this two-pronged attack, right? CO is displacing oxygen, and it's locking up whatever's left. And this, as you can imagine, leads to a whole cascade of awful symptoms all through the body. Let's take a look at how this actually plays out in the body. As the percentage of your hemoglobin that's been hijacked by CO goes up, we call that the carboxyhemoglobin or COHB level. The symptoms get bad fast. At first, you might just feel like you have the flu. A throbbing headache, maybe some nausea, but it doesn't stop there. It quickly moves to serious confusion, passing out, and then your body's systems just start to shut down. But here's something really important, something that can make it tricky for doctors. That number, the COHP level, a higher number doesn't always mean a worse outcome. The damage isn't just about how high that number got. There are a few other things at play here. First, how long you were exposed is a huge deal. A long, low-level exposure can be just as bad as a short, intense one. Second, your personal health matters a lot. Kids, pregnant women, the elderly, or anyone with a heart condition is at a much higher risk. And finally, and this is a big one, CO also messes things up directly inside your cells, stopping them from using oxygen properly. And that damage, it has nothing to do with the COHP level in your blood. So, okay, that's the bad news. How do we fight back? How do we get that oxygen delivery service back online? The answer is actually pretty simple in principle. We flood the system. And this really shows the power of our main weapon, which is just more oxygen. If you're just breathing regular air, it's going to take about 5 hours to get rid of just half the CO in your blood. But if we give you 100% pure oxygen, we slash that time down to about 80 minutes. See, by flooding your system with oxygen, we can finally start winning that competition and kick the CO off those hemoglobin seats. And for the really bad cases, there's an even more powerful tool in the toolbox. It's called hyperbaric oxygen therapy, or HBO. Basically, we put the patient in a special pressurized chamber filled with 100% oxygen. This cuts that half-life down to just 23 minutes. It's an incredibly fast way to clear out the poison and just drench those starving tissues with the oxygen they need. Now, the treatments are amazing, but with a silent killer like this, the best strategy is always going to be making sure it never gets to you in the first place, right? Prevention is absolutely everything. And the steps are really straightforward. Number 1, install and test CO detectors. Seriously, they are the only nose you have for this gas. Number 2, be super careful about ventilation. Never, ever use things like generators, grills, or camp stoves indoors. And number 3, get your furnace, water heater, and any other gas or oil-burning appliance checked out by a pro every single year. And that really brings us to the final, most important takeaway here. Think about it. You wouldn't dream of having a home without a smoke detector, right? Well, carbon monoxide is every bit as deadly, and honestly, it's way sneakier. So the question I want to leave you with is a simple one. Are you protected from the silent killer?